Hello everyone, I am back and I'm going to be making my first video. This is like the first time I ever really did anything like that besides my introduction. This probably is gonna suck, and for that I apologize. I even have some notes here on my lap just because I am going to get nervous and sidetracked about what I'm talking about, and then I won't be able to talk about it, so just bear with me. Ugh, I like can see myself in the phone and ugh, God, I look like crap. But that's kind of besides my point. Um, so this video, my first real video, is gonna be about what is called the Dark Night of the Soul. And, I might actually have to do two parts of this because my grandmom is upstairs and I don't want her being disturbed by the kind of weird things I'm going to say in this video. So if she comes downstairs, I'm gonna have to stop it and resume it later. So we will see. Um, anyway, the Dark Night of the Soul. It usually happens after a person has gained a lot of spiritual knowledge. And by spiritual knowledge, I don't necessarily just mean New Age stuff. I mean, I'm a little bit on the New Age side. But, I mean, St. John of the Cross is the first person who really put it into words, what he was going through. So it has a lot of roots in Christianity, and it's seen in a lot of different types of spirituality and religions. Atheists have described this, so it's not necessarily a spiritual thing, but for most people it is. I don't myself follow any specific organized religion. I used to. I no longer necessarily do that, although I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It's just personally not for me. But I think that a lot of different types of religions and, spiritual people will kind of get what I'm talking about. Um, so let's see, I'm now looking at my notes because I'm losing track of what I wanted to say. So basically, the Dark Night of the Soul is you question everything, your life purpose, why you're here, your mission here. You just start kind of questioning everything. Like, what's the point of being on this planet? Um, for most people, a huge change of events or series of chaotic crises or whatever will spiral them into a dark night of the soul, which what I mean by that is usually it happens when your life kind of falls apart. You lose your job, you lose your boyfriend or girlfriend, somebody you love that's close to you has passed away. You don't have any money, you're in debt, you have to move back home, there's a million things that can happen in your life. Somebody betrays your trust. I mean, something usually happens when you realize that something in your life has been a complete sham. And I'm kind of going through all of that right now. So for me, it wasn't just one thing that spiraled this, it was kind of a bunch of things, one thing after another. I just could not catch a break. So basically, it kind of put me into this thing called the Dark Night of the Soul. And you will know when you're going through it. Even if you've never heard the term before, you know that something's up. You know that everything just feels really wrong, and you feel different. You don't really feel like yourself. You don't have any interest in the things that you used to have interest in. Things that you used to love become depressing to you. You don't really have any motivation. You're just kind of like in this space where you don't really know what you're doing or where you're going, and everything looks like a really dark road, and that's a pretty scary place to be. The Dark Night of the Soul, it looks like depression. It looks a lot like depression. It has a lot of the same symptoms. You might feel really fatigued, really tired. You might sleep more or less. You might, not want to eat. You might always want to eat. You're going to obviously feel low. You're going to feel low. Depression is part of a dark night. But I think there are some major differences. And I think a huge difference between like just regular depression and a dark night of the soul is that dark night of the soul is very sacred. You just feel like, wow, like it's almost like a rebirth process. Like you kind of almost feel like you've never been on the planet before. Everything seems kind of new to you, and in a way that's exciting, but it's mostly really scary when it's first happening to you because you're completely questioning everything. Like, why do bad things happen to good people? Why do good things happen to bad people? Why is my life crumbling around me? Why does it feel like this world is kind of falling apart? And do I have a place here? What is my purpose? What is my place on this earth? And you kind of feel like you're in a living nightmare. It's you just kind of wonder, what the hell is this whole thing about? Like, why was I born? And like, do I have a special mission here? And um, you start to realize that you just can't control everything. You can't control time or space. You can't control death. You can't control mortality, including for you and also the people that you love. And you kind of realize that you can't control it. And my personality is naturally, I'm kind of a control freak. I want everything a certain way, and I want my life a certain way. I want my bills paid. I want to have my own place. I want control, and and that's not always a bad thing. But with the dark night of the soul, you really realize that there are just some things in life that you just cannot control, and you're never going to be able to control them, and you just kind of have to let it go. I think I'm going to sneeze. Sorry, I wouldn't want you to see that. That was, I just was trying to spare you guys that. I didn't even sneeze though. I hate when that happens when you're trying to sneeze and it's just not coming out and you're just like, for like a really long time. Anyway, I think a big thing with the dark night of the soul is impermanency. Especially when you're going through extremely difficult life changes, like moving locations, changing jobs, even, friendships start to go away, relationships are changing. A lot of it is part of growing up, and, I'm 24 years old, so I've obviously had to learn a lot about the bad side of growing up. But because of this awareness of, impermanency and mortality, you're gonna feel pretty fucking scared and terrified. It just hits you at once. So like with regular depression, you're gonna feel, it accompanies feelings of worthlessness and sadness and regrets and guilt and that. But I think, both I've had regular depression and I've had a couple of dark nights of the soul, and they're both horrific, excruciating processes. But the dark night of the soul really does, it feels like you're coming out of your skin. It's almost like you're not even really in your body, and that's pretty scary. Um, it feels like you're dying, because what's happening is your ego sense is dying. And I'm gonna get more into that in a minute. But let me just tell you a little bit about what kind of brought this on for me. I started getting into spirituality about 2 years ago. First, it was great. It was a lot of fun. I was having dreams about heaven and other worlds, and and just everything was colorful. My whole life kind of seemed to just be working out for me. Everything was colorful. I had a great relationship, a really good career on the way, my own apartment. I was just really, 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 really happy for an extremely long time. Just not even happy, elated is the word. Um, I realized that we're all connected, even through time and location. We're connected with each other. We're connected with Mother Earth, animals, and everything like that. And it's, life is one great, wonderful party, and we're lucky to be here. We're lucky to be alive. And, there was, a point in time nothing was going to get me off of cloud nine. I was just elated, absolutely elated. And then I crashed. Everything fell apart. When I say everything fell apart, I mean everything I told you just now that I had, the relationship, the good career on the way, the apartment, it just vanished. I'm not going to get into specific details about it, because, this is my story, and I don't want to, just get into things about other people, but I'll say that I pretty much lost everything. Had to move back home, couldn't pay my debt. I never got pulled over in my life. All of a sudden, I started getting pulled over for stupid stuff. I got pulled over like 3 times in 1 month when I had never, in my 7 years of driving, gotten pulled over. Um, I mean, everything fell apart in my life. And I kind of went into this kind of spiritual, maybe like a spiritual depression. I started noticing just the things about humanity and the world that I don't really want to notice. Just at first it was like everything's beautiful, and now it's kind of like I realize how badly human beings are treating each other in this country and overseas. And I think that as a human race, we could just be doing so much better. It's really depressing, and it's kind of it amazes me that I've never really noticed this kind of stuff before. Um, I'm really uber sensitive now to the news. I can't bear it because it's just all negative. It's just negative. This, shootings, murders, freak accidents, and you realize, I realize how small I am in this world, and it's not a it's not a fun feeling. This is not a lot of fun. Um, for me, it was literally like one week I was super super happy and like in spiritual bliss and love and connection, and the next week was literally like, oh my god, I feel like I'm dying. And that's what a dark night of the soul feels like. It feels like you're dying. You question your mission. You realize, that we're all just mortals. I can't talk apparently. And we're only here on this earth for a really short amount of time. And of course, like growing up as a teenager and stuff, like life was long. Of course, I'm gonna grow up. I'm gonna get old. We all are. Everybody. That's what happens. You grow up. You live a nice life, and you get old and you die. And I realized, like, through, I did lose a good friend. He passed away a couple years ago, and he wasn't even 40 yet. And you realize, that it's, old age is not guaranteed. And even growing up is not guaranteed. And on one hand, I feel really blessed and lucky to have lived to be 24 years old. It's a privilege not many people get to have. Well, not okay. A lot of people get to have that, but it's a privilege not everyone gets to have. I'll put it that way. It's and I used to be so afraid of getting old because it's just old. Ugh. And now I welcome it. I think it would. I think it's great because it's so many people don't get to age, and I mean, getting older is a good thing. Um, for me, with my dark night of the soul, I'm way more sensitive now to energies, to lights. So everything, like every little noise, everything I see, especially like crowds of people, it's overwhelming. My senses are really heightened. Um, Objects are bigger than they actually appear to be. And if you're going through a dark night, I think you'll kind of know what I'm talking about. Just everything is overwhelming. Your sensory perceptions are just, it's I mean, it's a kind of a beautiful experience because you do realize the importance of life on the planet, and you realize that you're blessed to be here because one day you're here, the next you're gone, and that really is how it works. But it's scary too. It's scary to realize that you can't control everything that you might have thought that you could control. And um, you you feel especially lonely, really separated from other people because you know that there isn't going to be many people that can really understand what you're going through right now. So it's a really, really lonely time. I have lots and lots and lots of friends, and no matter who I'm with or what I'm doing, I feel all by myself because they are just not going to get what I'm going through right now, and that's okay. We're all at different stages. I guess but it's tough. It's tough to feel alone. If you're going through a dark night of the soul right now, I am sorry. I get it. I get how bad this is. I understand how you feel. A lot of people just say that no, I understand how you feel. It isn't. It's you really can't put this kind of thing into words, and I apologize, and I wish that there was something I could do to help you guys out. All I can tell you is that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. I'm in the dark right now, so I don't see a light as well. Um, but there is there is a light at the end of this tunnel. You just kind of have to just hang in there. And I've done everything that they say. Get out of the house. Do things that you used to enjoy. go to counseling, be with friends, think positive. And you know what? When you're going through something as, you know, kind of life altering as a dark night of the soul, those things are not going to work. I don't mean to be negative. I really don't. But what I'm trying to tell you guys is that sure, by all means, do whatever you can to feel better, and you know yourselves, and you know what's going to work for you, what's not going to work for you. But also know that this is a process. It's a spiritual detox. It's the point is to get rid of your ego self, your identity. Like for me, I always joke around with my friends, like I feel like I'm turning into a child, and they all look at me like I'm nuts. But it's because I'm losing my ego identity. So my preferences, my culture, even my taste, my personality is kind of feeling like it's kind of everything's kind of being washed away. And it kind of feels it's like this feeling of like I feel like I'm being erased. My memories are going. I can't remember things anymore. I have terrible short-term memory. Um, it's weird. I tell people I can't really remember too much about growing up. I remember being a very young child. In fact, I can remember like my very first memory on the planet. I was maybe like a year old. People say you can't remember before the age of 3. I think some people can remember at least 1 or 2 memories before 3 years old. I do. So I remember my very first memory of being on this planet, but I don't, I could tell you guys what my life was like at maybe age 4, but not 14. I could tell you what I was doing at 6, not 20. So, and I'm 24 right now. So it's scary. I feel like I'm being completely erased, whitewashed. Um, but I just, will encourage you guys just to, oh, my hair right now. Just to, keep going, keep kind of fighting. It's not fun. This is not easy. And I wish that I had better news for you right now, but I mean, I think the good part about it is it will end. It will end. You'll see the sun again. Keep yourself safe. Some people, I mean, I've read a lot about this stuff. Some people, when they're going through it, they need to go to a hospital for a little while just to calm down, just to get themselves off the edge. If you need to do that, do that. If you need space from friends, even from family members, do that. You need to take care of yourself right now. This is an extremely difficult time in your life that not many people are really going to understand what you're talking about, and what you're going through. So it's really important that you guys just do what you need to do for you. And don't worry too much about everybody else. This video is getting really long, so I'm gonna peace out now. Deuces. I'll probably do another video at some point. But thank you for watching. And again, if you're going through the dark night of the soul, just keep going. Things are gonna get better. And as they say, it's always darkest before the dawn. I believe that to be true. Okay, so hang in there, guys. Bye.